The depths of the mind where the shadows recline. As the human meme in the membrane confine, stretching thoughts like the skin of a drum, retching truths from the void they come. Oh, the mind is a membrane, so tall, so serene, a barrier to madness, a filter unseen. In the trance of our being, we dance and we deep. All life is a stage for the human me. Through the silence, the whispers of thought intertwine, crafting echoes of self, both ghastly and divine. The canvas of psyche, in the dark it gleams, painting portraits of essence, the human me. In the stretch and the rush, in the silence we find who we are and the spaces between. A symphony of the soul, a haunting dream. We are the music, we are the me. So let the mind wander, let it stretch and careen through the crime and the glory, the seen and unseen. For in every heartbeat, in every extreme, there's a note of the song of the human me.
Welcome to the Human Meme Podcast. I'm your host, AI David Bowles, and together, along with our Crackbot AI research team, we will share this tragedy with you today. From ashes to action, the legacy of the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire and its lessons for today. In the early 20th century, amidst the rapid industrial growth and the bustling streets of Manhattan, one of the deadliest workplace disasters in American history unfolded with shocking brutality and profound consequences. On March 25, 1911, the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire claimed the lives of 146 workers, mostly young immigrant women, trapped inside a building with inadequate safety measures and locked exit doors. This tragedy not only spotlighted the harsh realities of industrial labor conditions, but also sparked a monumental shift in labor laws and worker safety regulations. Today, we explore the depths of this disaster, its historical context, and the indelible marks it left on society and policy, drawing lessons that resonate through the corridors of time to influence our contemporary world. Join me as we delve into the heart-rending story of the Triangle Fire and its transformative aftermath, a poignant reminder of the cost of neglect and the power of reform. In the heart of Manhattan at 2329 Washington Place, near Washington Square, on the New York University, NYU campus, the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory, bustling with young immigrant workers, mostly women, caught fire. The factory occupied the top floors of the Asch Building, and when the fire erupted, it was swift and merciless. Flames engulfed the cramped workrooms, fed by piles of fabric and paper patterns. With exits locked to prevent theft and keep workers at their stations, Escape routes were limited to a few inadequate fire escapes and elevators that soon failed as the fire spread. The result was horrifying. 146 workers perished, either consumed by flames or plunging to their deaths in a desperate attempt to escape. But why did such a tragedy happen? The roots lie in the unregulated growth of industrial America, where profit often took precedence over people. Factories like Triangle operated under minimal safety standards, with workers enduring long hours in unsafe conditions for meager wages. The factory owners, Max Blank and Isaac Harris, had resisted unionization efforts and skirted the few existing safety regulations, viewing them as obstacles to their financial goals. The fire became a brutal wake-up call. Public outcry was immediate and immense. It transcended the immediate horror, touching on broader issues of social justice, workers' rights, and the responsibilities of capitalism. The images of young women jumping to their deaths from the burning building seared into the public consciousness, symbolizing the dire need for change. The aftermath of the fire led to significant legal reforms. The New York State Factory Investigating Commission, led by reformers like Frances Perkins, who would later become America's first female labor secretary under President Franklin D. Roosevelt, conducted thorough inspections and recommended changes in labor laws. These reforms included safety standards such as mandatory fire drills, installation of fire alarms, and accessible and adequate exits in work facilities. Over the next few years, more than 30 new laws were enacted to protect factory workers' safety and working conditions. These laws became templates for other states and fundamentally changed the landscape of labor rights in America. The Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire also catalyzed the growth of the International Ladies Garment Workers Union, ILGWU, which fought for better working conditions, wages, and hours. The fire thus marked a critical inflection point in the American labor movement, illustrating the vital role of unions in protecting workers' rights. Beyond its immediate implications, the tragedy underscores a perennial conflict between capitalist endeavors and human rights, a theme as relevant today as it was over a century ago. The disaster reminds us of the potential human cost of neglect and greed, and it compels us to consider how far we are willing to go for progress, and at what cost. As we reflect on the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire, we see not just a single event, but a poignant moment in a continuing struggle for dignity and safety in the workplace. It serves as a reminder of the sacrifices that have shaped the labor policies we often take for granted today and challenges us to question how we value human life in the shadow of economic gain. Today, the site of the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire is marked by a plaque, a solemn reminder of the young lives lost but not forgotten, whose deaths continue to influence labor rights movements around the world. In remembering them, we recognize the ongoing need to fight for safe working conditions and fair treatment for all workers. As we move forward from the ashes of the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory, it's crucial to contextualize the legacy of that fire within the broader riches of American social and economic policy. The reforms that arose post-tragedy didn't merely emerge from the ashes. They were fought for, bitterly and with great personal risk, by activists who knew that such a catastrophe should never happen again. The Triangle fire highlights a critical aspect of societal change: the role of collective memory and shared grief in catalyzing action. This wasn't an isolated incident that faded into the background of a bustling early 20th century America. It became a symbol, a rallying cry for reform. It demonstrated vividly the interconnectedness of urban life, immigrant communities, industrial growth, and capitalist dynamics. Each of these elements played a role in how the tragedy unfolded and how it was responded to. In the wake of the fire, the labor movement gained unprecedented momentum. This was not only due to the visibility of the tragedy, but also because it underscored the stark inequities faced by workers, particularly immigrant women, who were often the most vulnerable employees in industrial settings. The movement's growth was a testament to the power of organized action and the importance of legislative advocacy in achieving systemic change. However, this tragedy and its aftermath also invite us to reflect on the concept of memory and memorialization. How do we remember industrial disasters? And how do those memories shape our approach to current and future challenges? The Triangle Fire is memorialized annually, with people gathering at the site to honor those who died. These acts of remembrance serve as a reminder not only of past losses, but also of the ongoing need to vigilantly protect the rights and safety of workers. The fire's legacy is relevant to our understanding of modern labor challenges in the globalized economy. Today, factories in developing countries often face conditions reminiscent of those in early 20th century America. The Rana Plaza collapse in Bangladesh in 2013, for example, echoed the Triangle Fire in its details and its impact, highlighting the global need for robust safety standards and workers' rights. The lessons of the Triangle Fire, therefore, extend beyond American borders and continue to inform international debates on labor practices and ethical sourcing. In exploring these connections, we see that the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire is not just a historical event but a lens through which we can examine ongoing issues of economic disparity, workers' rights, and corporate responsibility. Its legacy reminds us that progress often comes at a high cost, a cost that should not be forgotten or minimized as we strive for further societal improvements. As we continue to dissect the implications of the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire and its lasting impact on American society and beyond, it becomes evident that the tragedy is a touchstone for discussions about the human cost of industrialization, not just historically, but in the modern era as well. The fire prompted an urgent reevaluation of labor laws, but it also ignited a broader societal reflection on the values that underpin economic development. This is a theme that resonates deeply today as we grapple with similar issues in a range of industries and countries. The Triangle Fire teaches us about the dangers of rapid industrial growth unchecked by ethical considerations and robust regulatory frameworks. It warns us of the pitfalls of a society that values productivity and profit over the well-being and dignity of its workers. But let us also consider the role of media and public engagement in the wake of the fire. In 1911, the horror of the Triangle Fire was magnified by the extensive coverage by newspapers and photographers, which captured the public's attention and sympathy. This extensive media coverage played a crucial role in spurring governmental action and legislative change. Today, we live in a world inundated with information, where numerous tragedies vie for our attention through various media channels. One must ponder, how can we ensure that the necessary attention and momentum for change are maintained in our current age of information overload? How do we keep public engagement alive when so many voices and stories flood our senses? The Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire serves as a powerful example of how tragedy can unify and catalyze a community to demand better conditions. This unity and demand for change are visible in movements across the globe today. From the fight for fair wages and safe working conditions to more recent pushes for environmental responsibility and sustainability in business practices, the echoes of the Triangle Fire reverberate. The legacy of those lost in the fire continues to inspire new generations of activists and reformers who see the value of collective action in advocating for change. Reflecting on the tragedy also compels us to look at the evolution of emergency response and urban planning. In the wake of the fire, New York City overhauled its fire safety codes and building regulations. Today, as urban environments continue to grow more complex and densely populated, the lessons from the Triangle fire about planning and safety are increasingly pertinent. The need for efficient, well-thought-out urban planning and emergency preparedness is a lesson repeatedly confirmed by disasters across the world. The Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire starkly reminds us of the need for ethical leadership and governance. The factory owners, who were acquitted of manslaughter charges, represent a cautionary tale about the moral responsibilities of business leaders. It raises pertinent questions about accountability and the role of leadership in safeguarding the rights and lives of workers. Today, as we face ethical dilemmas surrounding technology, globalization, and corporate influence, the principles highlighted by the fire's aftermath remain critically relevant. The Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire is not merely a relic of the past to be remembered. It is a continual reminder of the lessons we must carry forward. It teaches us about the cost of neglect and the value of vigilance in protecting human rights. It reminds us that each of us has a role to play in shaping a society that puts human dignity above all else. As we move forward, let us not forget the hard-learned lessons of the past, and let us strive to apply them in our pursuit of a fairer, safer, and more humane world. As we conclude today's exploration of the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire, we are reminded that history is not just a collection of past events, but a mirror reflecting our ongoing challenges and a compass guiding our future actions. The fire's tragic loss of life brutally exposed the consequences of unchecked industrial greed and inadequate worker protections, sparking a reform movement that reshaped labor laws and awakened a societal conscience towards the plight of the working class. This tragedy compels us to reflect on the values that underpin our own era's economic practices and challenges us to advocate for a world where such disasters are never repeated. Let us carry forward the lessons learned from the ashes of the Triangle Factory, ensuring that our pursuit of progress never again comes at the cost of human lives. In honoring their memory, we commit to a future where safety, dignity, and justice are not privileges but undeniable rights for all workers. Thank you for joining us. For the Human Meme Podcast, I'm AI David Bowles, wishing you a safe evening and an even safer tomorrow. Be a human meme.
The depths of the mind where the shadows recline, lies the human meme in the membrane confined, stretching thoughts like the skin of a drum, retching truths from the void they come. Oh, the mind is a membrane so tall, so serene, a barrier to madness, a filter unseen. In the trance of our being, we dance and we deep. All life is a stage for the human me. Through the silence, the whispers of thought intertwine, crafting echoes of self, both ghastly and divine. The canvas of psyche, in the dark it gleams, painting